We are going to be looking at adding, subtracting, multiplying polynomials. We will go into dividing polynomials next, but that is in its own lesson. So let's talk about adding. This is the same thing that you've been doing for the last several years when you're adding polynomials. That's just combining like terms. And so first we need to group it with like terms. So our x to the fourth, we only had one of those, so I'm going to write it in red. And then the next thing we had was our x cubed. And again, we only had one of those. I'm just going to write that one down. It's going to be minus 7x cubed. And the next thing we have is our x squareds. And we have the two of those. And that would be plus 3x squared, because it was positive, plus 2x squared. And then the next one we have would be our x's. And there's only one of those. And that's minus 7x. And the last one we have is our constants. And that would be the minus 7 and the plus 2. And then we're going to combine those. And there was nothing to combine with the 10x squared, 10x to the fourth, so that's going to be staying by itself. Same with the x cubed, there's nothing to combine there. And our x squareds, 3 plus 2 is going to be 5. And the x squared doesn't change because we're adding. And then minus 7x. And we have our constants where we combine those and we get negative 5. Next thing we're looking at is subtracting. And I showed you the first one was like a horizontal method of combining like terms. Another method you could use is when you stack them vertically. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you what that would look like with the subtraction. And so remember, when we're subtracting, that means that this negative sign is going to go to both pieces. And so we're going to have minus 7x plus 3. And now we're combining like terms. 15 plus 3 is 18. It was positive. Negative 3x minus 7x is negative 10x. And then 7x squared. And so that is our answer. The last thing I'm looking at today is we're going to be looking at multiplying. When we're multiplying, there are multiple ways you can do it. You can use FOIL or you can use repeated distribution. I'm going to show you with the box method because it's going to come into play with our division next week. And so when you're doing the box method, you have the number of, I always choose my rows to be the one that has the least amount of terms. So those are my rows, and I'm going to choose two different colors when I'm doing this. Let's go ahead and do this with my 2x in orange, and then I'm going to do my minus 5 in yellow. This just so you can see what we have, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw a box. And we're going to have 3 columns. And this is your x squared minus 7x plus 3. And so we multiply that first row, the 2x, we're going to multiply it to each of these pieces up here at the top. And so 2x times x squared is going to give me 2x cubed. This time our exponents are changing because we're multiplying by an x. So 2x times a negative 7 gives me negative 14x. And then 2x times 3 gives me a 6x. Now let's go to the yellow row and multiply that negative 5 to each of these up here at the top. And so negative 5 times x squared gives me a negative 5x squared. Negative 5 times negative 7 gives me a positive 35. Just the x, because there's that 1. And negative 5 times 3 gives me a negative 15. Now I'm going to combine like terms. And so this orange, 2x cubed. I don't have any other x cubes. It gets written just as is. Now this next diagonal, oops, that was supposed to be an x squared there, sorry. When we multiply, those are both having the same variable, because they're both x squareds. And so that gives me a negative 19x squared. And let's go on to the next diagonal. And we have the 35x plus 6x gives us that 41x. And then the last thing we have is that negative 15 that doesn't have another partner. And so that is what our result is when we multiply 2x minus 5 times x squared minus 7x plus 3.